Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. First off, I just want to say this fucking crazy thing that just happened to me, right? Some rando messages me on frickin' Discord and he's like, yo, he's like, hey, and I don't respond, and so he fucking pings me. He's like, at me, like, even though it's a DM, and I'm like, ugh, okay. So I'm thinking it's something important, because he pinged me. So I go, hey, and he's like, beautiful day we're having, wouldn't you say? And I'm like, dude, I'm not here for small talk. Is it important? I was about to stream. What do you want? And he's like, oh, I wanted to know if you'd join my server. And I'm like, nah, probably not, because I don't join many servers. I'm not like a guy that just. I know there are people out there that join like a 50 bajillion servers and then only use like two of them. I only join servers if I can see myself using it. Usually if it's owned by a friend. It's kind of about it. And so I'm like, probably not. And then he's ooh, we get 700 plus members or something. Like that's a selling point. Like I'm not a person that cares about servers. I'm like, oh, you got more members? Okay, that literally changes nothing for me. And he's like, we help streamers. And I'm like, bro, you didn't know I was a streamer before you messaged me. You can't just randomly pull out of nowhere. We help streamers. Come on, man. We help streamers. It's like, yeah, but that's not why you invited me. Like, that's clearly not like your main I just don't give a fuck. And now he's just messaging me so much. For boost, high quality streaming. But sure, I understand how you feel. I hope your stream goes well. God damn, dude. That was like 7 different messages just for that like one sentence. Guy's going off at me, dude. Just leave me alone. I said no. You got 700 plus members. What does one more matter? You know, why do you need one more? Alright, whatever. Let's. I accidentally. You know what? Sure, whatever. Actually, I should put the brightness up. Okay. Let us begin. We're gonna finish Hanako today, probably. I think we're pretty close to the end. I didn't check when the last stream cut off, because the last stream ended via the stream dying. When did it end? I'm gonna mute the desktop audio for a sec, so that I can, check on Twitch when the last Guitar Shadow stream died. Just what line it was. Dish one. Right to the end. Oh wait, was I in a short break when it died? No, I came back from the short break. Okay. Okay, it was this line. Dope. I checked and it was in fact this line. This line was like loading in as the stream died. Awesome. Yeah, because it's a PC game, I noticed right away when it fucking goes down. So I don't have to do alternate screen shenanigans. Alright, oh right, I need my glasses to freaking read the dialogue. Oh, tiny text. I wish it was a full screen game though. Or at least a bigger window screen game, because it's bloody small, I tell you. Oh, whoops. Yuko gives us a quick bow, then hastily skitters over and greets the new customers. An elderly man and his wife. I watch her for a bit, craning my head around to get a good view. Yeah, get a good view of that Yuko. Hanako is staring at me with her one visible eye. That's the first time he's like brought up the fact that she hides her other eye. That's weird. Weird bit of dialogue. She averts her head in embarrassment as I turn to make eye contact. I was just thinking that it's nice to have ambitions for the future. Yuko was telling me a little bit about her university aspirations before. Oh? It's a shame. If she wasn't so neurotic and overworked, I think she could be a really happy person. As much as I'd like to play host to Hanako and entertain her a bit, I do have to study as well. To be honest, I don't think the distraction from Yuko helped either. So if I'm a bit distracted, I need to try and get this done, otherwise I'm gonna flunk the history exams pretty hard. I'm left running my hand through my hair in frustration. That letter needs doing as well, once I get back to my dormitory room. If I have more luck then with that than this, damn. What with? Oh, I was gonna write to Iwanako. Right before though, this is more important. All I've done is rattle myself. I can't focus on the work in front of me when my stomach is slowly turning at the prospect of actually attempting to write her back after all this time. This is gonna make her misunderstand again. Freaking hell. I force myself to concentrate on the book, picking up my pen once I have a quick sip of coffee. After a few seconds, Hanako stops silently watching me and leans back in her seat, relaxing as much as she ever seems to be able to, looking out the window to pass the time. We stayed like this for a long time before leaving for the dormitories together. I'm surprised she had the patience to wait me out. Iwanako's letter lies on my desk beside a blank sheet of lined paper and an unused envelope. The tapping of my pen is the only thing to be heard this late at night. As I feared, my second task for the day turns out to be just as difficult as the first, if not harder. It's been so many months since we saw each other. Even so, I can still remember what she looked like, what she sounded like, and what she acted like. But now, though the little details are beginning to slip away. Where's the game? Here it is. When I first saw her letter, I barely recognized her handwriting at all. Even the pink pen she always used was forgotten until her writing reminded me of it. I wonder why she didn't use it for the letter. She used to write everything with it. Maybe she thinks it's too immature now. I should be thinking about myself and about what I want to communicate to her. My mind can't stop concentrating on her, though. On the past we shared before it was taken away so suddenly. The bright and slightly garnished decorations, pseudo-sense of aesthetics. The Japanese in the CG massive brain. I think that's an or. The first one, or I can't tell. The flower makes them hard to read. Let's do the second paragraph. Oh god, this kanji. Uh, it's too many kanji. Read the massive brain Japanese reading. No, I can't. I don't know any kanji. Well, that's wrong. I know nani and I know some numbers. That's the only kanji I know. The bright and slightly garish decoration suit a sense of aesthetics. Picking up the letter to take a closer look at it, I give a long sigh. This is the last link binding me to my past. Iwanako didn't suddenly cease to exist when she left my hospital room for the last time, but I needed this letter to remind me of that. I had all those feelings neatly filed away. I felt as if I didn't need them, that I could just begin life completely anew. It was easier that way. In the end, I suppose that was a rather naive thing to think. Sooner or later, my past would have caught up with me one way or the other. If I did get a letter in the Rin route, I was a lot more dismissive then. Rin was better for me. She made me just be like, yeah, fuck this letter. Fuck you, Hanako. I'm gonna go finger Rin in our art studio. This freaking Hanako route's making me think about it too much. What am I supposed to say to her? Thank you for bringing me closure? All that it did was end the sense of closure I'd previously felt. Try as I might, I can't write so much as a single word down on the paper in front of me. I can't even think of what exactly I want to say. Putting the letter down on top of the blank sheet, I gather the materials together and file them away in my drawer. The clunk the desk makes as it closes makes me momentarily tense in frustration before I get up and go grab a drink from the vending machine on the first floor. I tried, but I couldn't do it. After all the time that passed, I still don't know how to deal with you, Hanako. Damn. Fucking garbage truck driving around making a lot of noise. At least I assume it's a garbage truck. It sounds like it. It sounds like it's all the shit tipping out of bins into the bigger bin. Also, I don't know why, Toast, but your I think it's different for like the view of each person, but your text in the chat went from dark green to light green. I don't know why. You're meant to stay the same color for the entire stream, per perspective. The library, while not humming with activity, is noticeably more busy than usual. Exams are not far away, and that's reflected in the number of students burying their noses in textbooks at the tables around me. Exams not far away? No, see, well, I guess it's a high school, so whatever. I was about to say, when exams get closer, that means there's less people in the library. Because that's how it works in university. There's a lot of people there in, like, the first week. And then all the fucking greenies drop out within their first year. And so by the end of the year, there's barely anyone fucking left to use the library, and there's tons of space, and it's great. But the start of the year always sucks, because finding a seat in the library is basically fucking impossible. I've been studying quite a lot in the past few days, just like them, in hopes of doing well in the exam. In hope of doing well? Why not just say hopes? Maybe in your sophisticated best university in Australia, Melbourne Uni, but not out in Swinburne, mate. Capacity doesn't actually, at least when I was there, capacity didn't increase when it got near the exams. It never dropped, like, super low, so it's not that bad that it doesn't really change during exams, but, well, yeah, I mean, it stays about the same. It's like getting a booth is still kind of lucky, getting a study room is still kind of lucky, but just getting a seat is easy for pretty much the whole year. Maybe in the middle it gets a little low and getting a booth is kind of easy, but generally it still kind of stays like you're lucky if you get a booth. The libraries are always almost full in Melbourne. Damn, in Swinburne they're only full for like the first couple months maybe, or so. I guess it depends what floor you're on though. Like if you go to the second floor or third floor, they're pretty much always full, but if you go to the first floor, which is actually a basement floor that's underground, that one isn't always full except at the start of the year. And that's where me and my friends would always go, because that has more study rooms, it has more booths, and it has more seats in general than any other floor in the library. So it's like the biggest floor, because it doesn't have any shelves or any actual library stuff. It's just computers, desks, and study rooms. That too, actually. Yeah, I can imagine people actually just use the Melbourne Uni Library without being students, because you can. There was a few people at Swinburne I know that were always there even though they weren't students. Like, yeah, you can just go. They don't check. That makes sense. Yeah, Swinburne's in Hawthorne, which isn't unpopulated, but there's also like a library across the road, so it's like... I've been studying quite a bit in the past few days. This also means that Hanako and I have been playing games less, so she's been studying as well, just to fill in the time. But yeah, it's also just Swinburne has a bunch of places where you can go. You don't have to go to the library to study, really. I didn't go to the library, like, at all for my last year there. Last year, I would always go to the Moot Lounge. The T buildings are technically the TAFE buildings, but all the Japanese, all the exchange students would have their classes in the T buildings as well. And so when I was dating Ayaka, I would go there because there was this Moot Lounge at the bottom of the T buildings. That was this really good spot with a bunch of booths, and tables. And I'd always just go there early, get a good spot, and then when she was done with her first class, like, she'd come down, and then I'd go to my class, and then I'd come down and she'd go to hers. Our classes never lined up, so only, like, at the end of the day and maybe for lunch would be able to actually talk. But we would just do that. It's just the libraries are the obvious places, I guess. But also, a lot of people liked that Moot Lounge. If it weren't for the fact that I showed up at like 8:30 every day, I would not have been able to get a seat at the Moot Lounge. But I would. I'd get a spot and secure it. Because then me and Ayaka would have... We never had class at the same time. So we could switch it. The Law Lounge. Yeah, that's probably what the Moot Lounge was in the T buildings. It was just like a chill area, and so we would always hang out there. And then once she went back to Japan, I also just hanged out there because it was a lounge and it was nice, and pretty much all my friends hanged out there now as well. Because it's way better than the library. Much more chill. Nevertheless, I found myself forsaken by her on this particular day. Actually, I can hang out in the graduate lounge now, which actually usually has room. Oh, damn. The graduate lounge. Because you need a pass to get in. Oh, wow. Damn. You needed a pass to get into the library for 24-hour access. And so I went and applied and got that. And there were two instances of me staying at uni overnight. 2 or 3 times I stayed at uni overnight to get work done. One time was this like character design thing I had to get done, which I did get done. And that's when I was still good at uni and actually putting in effort. And then the second time I was meant to work on something, but I just ended up watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX instead. And then the third time, I think I just ended up sleeping. I think. I don't remember the third one very much. Yeah. After the first year, I kind of stopped caring. The textbook in front of me has remained on the same page for some time. After so much reading on subjects I couldn't care less about, if not for the exam, my mind is beginning to wander. I find my eyes flickering over to where Hanako would usually be, just like on the days she wasn't in class. Her usual beanbag in the corner of the room is conspicuously unoccupied. It was here that we first really met. Tried to start a conversation with her, she got skittish and eventually bolted from the room altogether. I probably shouldn't smile about it, but it was kind of amusing in hindsight. Nowadays, it's more and more difficult to imagine her doing such a thing, even with Lily gone. She's been doing well now that she's come out of her room. I want to talk with her, or at least play another game of chess. I'm tired of studying, and it's been a few days since we've really done anything together. Oh, by the way, guys, we're gonna do big stream today because there's something we're gonna do after this that I'm kind of excited to do as a stream, because I've never done it as a stream before. You'll see what I mean, but like once we're done with this, it's not gonna be a short like, oh, I read for 2 or 3 hours and then it's done. No, I got something planned for after it, just so you know. That's why I didn't feel that bad about actually starting at 12 today. If I start later than 12 and it's not a visual novel day, Oh no! I've accidentally hyped toast up for the wrong thing. God damn it. I forgot about that. Maybe we'll do that too. Fine. We can do that as well. If there's time. Phantasy Star Online 2 Troubleshooting Stream. POG. POG de nani? POG de nani? I need to finish my assessment first, lol. Well, like I said, it's not actually that. So I'll be doing something else first. But we'll see. If there's time, I'll do that. Do it 4 p.m. It still hasn't finished. Sad. Yeah, that's fine. You got till 4 p.m. What are you sad about? You got like 3 hours and what is that? 39 minutes, I think. Wait, 4, 5. No, that's it's 19. You got 3 hours and 19 minutes. The question of where to find Hanako isn't a particularly difficult one. If she's not in the library, chances are that she's either in the tea room for some peace and quiet or in her dormitory room. Deciding to check them in that order, I pick up my books and make my way out of the library. I stretch and give a loud groan as I walk down the hallway. Studying may be frustrating at times, but with the progress I feel I've made, there's also some sense of pride in getting it done. It's a good feeling. There isn't a sound to be heard from inside as I stand in front of the door to Hanako's room. I guess this isn't very indicative of whether she's inside or not, given how quiet she usually is. Still, she wasn't in the tea room. I tried knocking lightly to make my presence known, but I'm surprised when I find the door unlocked and yielding at my touch. With a small creak, the door opens. It looks like my suspicions were correct. Hanako is indeed here. She's sitting at the table with an open book in front of her, but pays it no heed as she keeps looking out the window. She looks utterly oblivious to my presence. With her head thoughtfully resting on her hand, she looks calm and collected. It's a shame she can't look like this more often. I'm surprised that wasn't a CG. Smiling a little, I walk up to the table and softly speak to her. Good evening, Hanako. Hanako's head turns a little to see me, but she's still only half there. I put a hand on the table and lower my head to better look at her face, mildly curious about what mood she's in. What's up? She gasps a little, finally acknowledging my presence in the room for the first time. Hanako is blushing really heavily, her mouth is open just a little, as if paused mid-sentence. Most striking, though, is what she's doing. She's looking directly at me, her eyes are pinned on my own, from such a close distance that I can almost see my reflection in them. They don't turn away nor move at all, they're absolutely still, just looking into mine. They're dark and give her an almost analytical air. Even when reading on subjects she has no interest in, she would appear to be wrapped in her work to a casual observer. She absorbs information very well, and even now I can feel that. I feel like I'm sensing something behind those eyes that I never saw before. I don't know what it is, though. Hanako? Her lips move just a little, slightly mouthing something. She looks like she's on the verge of saying something, but won't say it. But that's the way Hanako always is, on the verge of saying something, but never quite doing it. As I look intently into her eyes, I realize something. Everyone has their own thoughts, things they want to say, their own worldview, but I can't work out what Hanako wants to say, and I can't work out what she's thinking. I never have been able to. It's frustrating. It feels like I don't know her at all, despite all the time we've spent together. So... It's only now that I find myself blushing. I've been looking directly into Hanako's eyes for from such a short distance, with absolutely no regard for her, and she's been looking into mine without shrinking away. I quickly look away while covering my face with my hand. Hanako does just the same. Another awkward silence reigns. I hate these. At first I accepted them as just being a fact of life around Hanako, but now all they feel like is an affirmation of how little we're able to communicate. Some anger makes its way in the complex mixture of emotions I'm experiencing right now. I want to bridge that gap between us. Friends shouldn't have to tiptoe around each other like this. I speak before I can argue myself out of what I'm gonna do. My scarring isn't as bad as Hanako's, and I can't possibly compare my life to hers, but I want to show her that she's not alone. Doing this in such a blunt manner might be the only way to get my point across. Hanako, I want to show you something. I take a deep breath and prepare myself. This could backfire. This could backfire bad. Time to get naked. Oh shit, is this gonna lead into a hate scene? But I feel as if we've come close enough for this to be okay. Oh my god, I'm not going to strip naked or anything weird. I'm just gonna take off my shirt. Haniko's eyes grow to the size of saucers. Her face is an amusing mixture of curiosity and nervousness as she stands. It helps take the edge off my own nervousness at doing this in front of another person. Slowly, with my entire body feeling tense, I knot my tie and begin to loose the first of the buttons. I'm trying to mentally block out Hanako to make it easier, but it's not really working. See how it glows in the sunlight like the vampires in Twilight. Could you imagine? As I work my way down, I expect to hear some form of protest from her. She remains silent though, which just makes this feel even stranger. With the last of my shirt unbuttoned, I take a deep breath and look at her. Hanako's gaze is fixed on my scarring, as expected, and once I nod to say it's okay, she steps forward and tentatively places her hand on the vertical line running down my chest. Whoa, shit. The scarring... Oh, hey, I turned off. See, I turned it off. What's with this bare chest I'm getting? Bare naked chest. Caress man breast. That took me a while to read that, Toast, the way you spelt it. The scarring on her hand, a pattern of damaged skin across its surface, contrasts with a single uniform line that makes up mine. Her hand isn't trembling at all, unlike what I predicted. This is the scar from the surgery that followed my heart attack. The surgeons had to cut open my chest to operate on my heart. I never knew. Hanako's words are calmer and softer than usual. The soft feeling of her fingers moving from my scar to my breast makes me hesitate a little before continuing on. You're the first person to see this since I left the hospital. But why are you showing this to me? I wanted to prove to myself that I could do this, that I could accept my past and move on. I wanted to show that to you as well. She nods. From her reaction, she seems to know how difficult this is for me. More than anything, this scar represents a visible reminder of my condition, a reminder that I'm not normal anymore. That's something that, until now, I'd tried my hardest to ignore. As the minutes tick by, Hanako's gaze lingers. Her eyes look less focused on my scarring than before. The situation feels a bit different than it previously did. It makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. Her hand retreats and I draw my shirt closed and begin to button it up. Her blushing face suddenly returns to its typical tense and timid state as she looks awry. Awry or away? Away. The room is completely silent as I fix my shirt and tie, feeling put off after such an unexpected intimate moment. Oh, unexpectedly intimate. Button up shirt, unzip pants. Hell yeah. So, I guess you're not the only one that's scarred. Hanako smiles a little at the joke, thankfully lightening the atmosphere a bit. Thank you, Sao. I think I understand. I give a long sigh of relief. I really didn't know how I should take it, but I'm glad everything seems to have worked out as I hoped. All according to Keikaku. Hanako's smile only proves that further. I'm finding the path I want to follow now, and what Hanako needs to do is to find her own. It's something I can't help her with, and it's something that she needs to overcome her past in order to do. Hanako checks her watch. It's getting late by now. Sao, yeah, I'd better be going. I'll be thankful for some sleep. It's been a long day after all. Good night, Hanako. Good night. No H scene. Not yet. I make my way out of her room and into the hallway, remaining silent as I do so. I think both of us have gone through a few emotions today. Hang on a sec. That music is quite loud. The heat of the summertime sun beats down on my sweating brow. Dabbing, just dab on those haters with a handkerchief doesn't help too much in making me any more comfortable. Yeah, of course it doesn't. You know how much friggin' movement is in dabbing, Hazao? You fool. Giving up on the idea of getting more done today, I stop and lean against one of the overpass fences, resting my bag on the ground. The stores in the town below Yamaku are well stocked and offer enough variety for me to get by, but at least an occasional shopping trip to the city is something that can't really be avoided. Been there a few times now, the city's layout is getting more familiar, and the nostalgia from its atmosphere is beginning to wear off. I realize that I've begun to wheeze. I sound like an old man that's overexerting himself, and having to connect that to the fact that I'm the source is a bit disturbing. I put a hand on my chest and concentrate for a bit to make sure I haven't gone far enough to cause any further problems. Thankfully, my heart is acting normally. There's no dull pain, and the beating is regular, albeit fast-paced, as I recover from overdoing things in this kind of heat. I hate my body. It's frustrating to be held back, even more to be held back by fear of my life being ended when doing something as simple as walking around the city for a while. Yeah, I know that feel. It's incredibly frustrating to have a disability because it's like yeah, you can get the same done as other people in like most cases, but it's usually either you gotta go via a workaround, or it's gonna take longer, or you have to work even harder than a normal person to do the same kind of thing. And that's the most frustrating part. It's just that you have to work harder. I mean, I don't.
Hey guys, we're going down to the yacht club soon.
Sorry about that. You probably heard someone call out. I just had to. Streamer dead. No, someone called out, so I didn't have time to say hang on a sec. No, but I was gonna say, yeah, I have autism, and so I don't use it as an excuse often because I hate the idea of using disabilities as excuses for things. Because as I said, you can still do it. It's just you have to work harder than a normal person to get to that same point, and it is slightly unfair, but that's the way shit is. And yeah, frustrating is probably a good word for it. Definitely frustrating. I remember one time some guy was complaining to these podcasters that I'm good friends with, and so I was kind of defending them because they were also fine, and I'm like, you guys are kind of, I'm like, you're wrong. Like, they just said they said this is their rule, so they're following that rule. I don't see why you have such a problem with it. And then I'm like, and if you don't like the way they're doing things, then why don't you just do your own podcast? If you want a podcast that does that out there so bad, just create it yourself. If you think there's really that gap in the podcasting market, fucking make it yourself. Cash in, steal their lunch. If you apparently know it so much better, do it. Do it. Make fucking more money than them. Because you think that is apparently how things work. And then he's like, jokes. This is what he said. He literally said this in his response to me. This is the part where I make you feel bad because I have a disability and my voice is weird and all this, so I can't do a podcast. And I'm like, first of all, why would you say this is the part where I make you feel bad? Like, that's not a thing normal people say. You're like admitting that you're playing the victim card. And then, yeah, and then you go and play the victim card right after it. It's like, even if you hadn't said that, I would have railed into him. But because he said the part before it where he's like, this is the part where I make you feel bad. I'm like, no, I don't feel bad for you at all. I have a disability as well. You know what I do? I fucking worked hard and worked through it. I have fucking autism and I didn't go to a special school. I went to legit schools. And I worked hard to make sure I could be at those legit schools and stay with my friends. You fucking absolute retard. I didn't just go, I'm gonna make everyone feel bad for me and use it as an excuse to not have to do anything and just tell other people to do the things that I should do. Completely unrelated, because Sasau's not doing that, but that's mentality that pisses me off, but whatever. But it is frustrating. But yeah, don't let disabilities fully hold you back. Be like Hasao and me. Power on through it. As I ponder on my health, I feel my pocket vibrating. By the time my phone's begun to ring, my hand is already fishing for it. A glance at the strange shows a caller number I don't recognize. Strange. Shrugging, I press the button to answer the call and bring the phone to my ear. Hello? Hanako speaking. Sound of a couple of short breaths can be heard, but no actual speech is forthcoming. Hello? Sao? It's Hanako. Her voice is really easy to place, but... Oh, even if I've never heard it over a phone before. That doesn't sound right. Maybe it would be. Maybe I'm remembering the past wrong. But those old flip phones, people would sound so completely different on phones than they would in person. Way back when. My first phone wasn't actually a flip phone, but it was a numpad phone. It was before those damn fangled smartphones. But... Which, by the way, smartphones freaked me out, because I was like, there's only one button! How do you do anything? There's only one button at the bottom. What if you need to do things? Nokia brick. It wasn't a brick, but it was a Nokia numpad phone. I can't remember what model it was, but it was a Nokia. It did have a numpad and a screen. Small screen, and like each message was its own, each text message was its own, like, entire thing. It like, you couldn't see the chat log, like, lined up on top of each other, like all messaging things do now. Like, it was, each message is an entire thing, and you can only, and if you want to see one, the one before it, you gotta go back, up, select it, and if you text on multiple people, you gotta go through all individual messages, find the one, open it, and then you can see what the message before that was. It's just like, I'm glad though. I'm glad that I was just old enough to have one, because my brothers never had one. My brothers are only a year younger than me, and they never had a numpad phone. They straight away got a smartphone. I'm glad I was like just old enough to get a numpad phone first. I have that experience. Hanako, sorry, I wasn't expecting you to call. What's up? If you're not busy, I was wondering if you would like to meet up. Yes. I mean, sounds really wound up about this. I can hear muffled voices in the background, and it's about time for afternoon tea. So I guess you want to meet her at the Shanghai or something. That sounds fine. Are you at the Shanghai? I'm in the city. Hanako's here? Alone? That's a surprise. It's little wonder she's like this if she's surrounded by people and entirely by herself. That works out well. I'm just wandering around here now. Where are you? Hanako manages to stammer out the street name, address, and some basic directions to where she is. Luckily, it's not too far, so I agree to see her soon before hanging up. I look up to the sky. The summer heat is beaten down. This is the first time Hanako was asked for us to do something together beyond a simple board game, and the first time, at least since I've known her, that she's coming to the city by herself. Maybe this means that Lily was right. By the time I managed to stagger up to the cafe where Hanako is, I've started to wheeze again. I'm sweating so much that I feel like a melting popsicle and can barely hold the bag in my hand. Fun fact! Popsicle's a brand name. It's not actually the name of that thing. It's a company name. It's like it's the name of the product only when it's from a specific company and their popsicles. Homemade ones, ones made by any other company, not actually popsicles. It's like Band-Aids, where like everyone knows it calls them Band-Aids, even though that's the brand name, not the actual item's name. I need to sit down badly. The tables outside are all occupied by busily chatting couples and girls gossiping between themselves. The contrast between the different age groups and fashions of the people here and the people from the tower? What? Town near Yamaku is striking. I scan over the people sitting at the tables, but I can't see Hanako. She did say she was sitting outside, so I must just be missing her. Not difficult given how small she usually tries to make her presence. I look around again, more slowly this time, taking particular care to see if I can find Hanako's hat. It's pretty distinctive, and I'd be very surprised if she wasn't wearing it. Damn, I had a friend like that in university. He always wore one of two hats, and they were very distinctive hats. So when I was looking for him in a crowd, I'd look for the hat. It was always an easy way to find him. There she is. Sure enough, her head is kept low, and the table she's sitting at is right beside the building in an inconspicuous corner. I walk up to where she is and make sure that I have her attention before I sit, lest I give her a scare. She notices me and gives a small wave as I arrive at her table. Are you feeling okay? I try my best to laugh it off, but doing so just makes me more out of breath. I'm very fit these days, don't mind me. Hanako nods, but still looks a bit put off. Now that I can get a look at her face, something about her seems a bit different. I'm not sure if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but she looks kinda nice. She's the same as she was during jazz night, dude. Her eyes move upward to look at me before quickly flicking down again. I begin to think this is going to be a rather quiet meeting, but a waitress thankfully arrives and sets down a cup of tea in front of Hanako. Hanako almost automatically turns slightly away and lowers the side of her head. It's an amazingly practiced motion and does a good job of its intended purpose, hiding her scars from someone who's leaning in close. Her right arm is still laying on the table though, with the scarring on the back of her hand quite visible. It catches the waitress's eye, and I move to quickly distract her. Excuse me, may I place an order? Don't say it like that. You try to distract her. It's like, oh, don't notice the burn scars I've given my girlfriend from abuse. I'm placing an order. I know that's not obviously the case, but it's like, the way he's like, oh, she noticed her scarring, let me distract her. Just sounded weird. It's like when I was younger, I was helping my mom with cooking, and because I was a dumb kid, I dropped something into a pot of boiling water from like a bit higher up because I didn't want to get my hand close to it. And then boiling water splashed up and got on my arm, and my mom had to take me to the hospital. And when I got there, they're like, how did these burns happen? And then she's like, oh, he was helping me cook, and the boiling water splashed up and all this. And then they're like, oh, okay, we just have to ask so that we can make sure people aren't abusing their kids. And I was like, whoa. Mom always tells that story. The waitress nods and gives me a couple of seconds to look at the menu. Could I have a mango smoothie, please? Damn, it's how going with the mango smoothie. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. Maybe they don't have a berry smoothie, but I mean berries over mango every day. Although mango is one of like the best fruits ever. She gives a nod before almost enthusiastically bouncing inside. Everything is so different in the city in more ways than one. Hospital people seeing some real dark bits of humanity. Yeah, that's true. You really kind of see it all. Ambulances, too, probably, and cops. I know, like, that, like, if someone calls 911 and they're like, "Oh, I'm ordering a pizza," and they're like, "This is 911," and then they're like, "No, you don't understand. I'm ordering a pizza," and they're like, "Oh, is this domestic abuse?" And they're like, "Yeah, can I get one pepperoni?" And then they're like, "Okay, what's your address?" And they're like, "Yeah, just deliver it to this address." And then they're like, "So we should leave the sirens off, right?" And then she's like, "Yeah, it's for whoever," and all this stuff. And so then, like, police or ambulance, like, go over there, and it's like, yeah. And I imagine, yeah, working in a hospital does a lot of the same thing, because you just see people absolutely brutalized, sometimes by other people. Uh, she gives a nod before Mr. Right, all that. Hanako looks back up towards me and adjusts her hat a little. If she noticed the waitress staring at her scars, she doesn't show it. Hey, did you order a pizza? Also, you're arrested. Basically, I've seen it on like TV. Like the cops will like roll up. They'll like not have the sirens on. They won't like. Yeah, they like won't have the sirens on. They'll like be all quiet, and then they'll just walk up, and then just like try to act fast once the door is answered. Or if it's ambulance, they'll just rock up and take the person that's injured away, and then like afterwards, once the person's alone, they're like, "Is this domestic abuse? Can we help you?" And I saw that once. Some chick called. She's like, "I fell down the stairs," and they're like, "What?" And then she's like, I fell down the stairs. I fell down the stairs. That's what happened. I fell down the stairs on my own. What a silly mistake." And then they find her, and she's beat up in such a way that you're like, "Well, no, you didn't fall down the stairs. Someone clearly beat you up." And they're like, "Is this domestic abuse? You have to tell us so that we can help you." And it's just like, jeez. Opens Pete's lid to reveal handcuffs inside. It's like that meme, the JoJo meme, where he turns over the piece of paper, and then the hand comes out from behind the paper with the gun. Open the pizza box, and a hand with a gun just comes out of the pizza box. Not coffee. I think I'd die from this heat if I had something like coffee right now. Resting my head in my hand, I look to my quiet companion. She seems taken aback, a very unexpected reaction to my lame joke. An unwelcome emotion bubbles up inside me as I realize her reason why. Oh. Unlike most in Yamaku, indeed, unlike anyone that I'm aware of, my condition goes beyond limiting the activities I can do. Or to be more precise, breaching those limits could have much more grave consequences. But yeah, if you ever need to call 911 or, well, we're in Australia, it's 000. Fun fact, because of the popularity of that term, in Australia, if you dial 911, it just redirects you to 000. It works, because too many kids kept doing 911 by mistake when they really needed help. Just because of pop culture. But fun fact, yeah, if you need to call them and, like, not have people around you know that you're calling them, just say you're ordering a pizza. They usually get it, and then they start asking you questions, and you can just be like, yeah, and, like, add, like, yeah, pepperoni, or something like that, or say, like, oh, no, and something, then, like, they'll ask questions in a way that you can answer them, and let them know what's going on without the people around you realizing what's going on. Of course, sometimes you also can't pretend like you're ordering a pizza, but that's usually what they're used to. If you call up saying you're ordering a pizza, they'll usually figure it out. Thankfully, just letting you know, because that could save your life one day. Who knows? Thankfully, it's something that very rarely can come up since I entered Yamaku. I thought it was so rare that Hanako... What? I skipped this dialogue by mistake. Unlike most in Yamaku, indeed, unlike anyone there that I'm aware of, my condition goes beyond limiting the activities I can do, or to be more precise, breaching those limits could have more grave consequences. Thankfully, it's something that's very rarely come up since I entered Yamaku. I thought that it was so rare that Hanako and Lily might not think of it at all. It turns out that I was wrong. Hanako silently drinks her tea while I wait for my drink, confirming that it's the right temperature, with a small sip before she begins in earnest. I feel guilty for being the cause of an uncomfortable silence, since in the past I've been kind of hard on Hanako for those. Eventually, the same waitress as before bounces up, handing me my drink. I gather change from my pocket and drop it into a waiting hand before she goes off to attend to another customer. My eyes linger on her as she walks away. Actually, there's something I need to do real quick. I will need to also turn off the desktop audio to do this. That's just something I gotta do real quick. Silence. Okay, I just had to do something. Also, when I did that thing, I opened up Google Drive for a reason. I just had to check it something, but and then I saw Maggie's priest guide. What? And then I'm sad all over again because MS2's gone. The priest guide. The priest guide. I never got all my skill points. Rip MS2. Big rip. Do you think she looks pretty? Hanako is following my gaze, my eyes taking in the waitress that served us. I can feel my blood slowly going to my cheeks as I rest my smoothie back on the table. No, I can't say that I'm really into that look. She just looked a lot like an old friend I knew before my heart attack. Did you have many friends? I had a few in my previous school, though I wouldn't say a lot. The four of us just hang out around together at school and stuff. You know, we hang out near the chapel and we talked during lunch and recess. The four of us. You know, Reimu, during winter, Reimu would show up and Toast would make jokes about how he looks like Kyon. You know, the basic, the typical stuff. Do you still talk to them? I'll shake my head. No, we gradually lost contact while I was stuck in the hospital. You're not saddened by that? Or angry? Hanako looks genuinely surprised. I guess it's the right reaction. Well, life did move on for them while I was stuck in the ward. I was pretty sore about it at the time, but now it's just a bunch of nice memories. Besides, once I came to Yamaku, I found new friends as well. It's quite a whitewash of what my feelings were back then. I went through some dark times during my stay at the hospital, and I really am glad that Hanako and Lily were around to help me after I left it. Hanako blushes as we both get down to enjoying our drinks. She seems to have calmed down since I arrived, and I've started to feel a little better now that I've had the chance to rest a bit. This is getting to be a nice outing already. Even if she's calmer than before, though, she's still fidgeting a bit. She runs her hand down one of her bangs as I try to think of something to say. That's right, I was going to ask. Hanako tilts her head quizzically. I didn't know you had a mobile phone. How'd you get my number? Lily gave it to me. Should have guessed. Yeah, that was a pretty obvious one. So, you could have just asked. I'd have given it to you. Want to exchange email addresses? Get line up. Give me. You wanna. Give me line. Give me a line. Get the QR code up. Oh no, we can do the thing where our phones are just close and we do the near field communication. I'll add you online. One time I was talking to one of my uncle's friends who had just gotten back from traveling around Asia for a bunch of years. And I mentioned how I have Line, and he's like, "You have Line?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "No one no one non-Asian has Line." And I'm like, "Yeah, I got it to speak with my Asian exchange student friends." He was like, "Holy shit, you got Line." Hanako nods, sitting down a drink and finishing off her phone from her pocket as I do the same. Surprisingly, the same model as mine, pink though. Nice phone. She looks at me with a curious expression before noticing my phone and giggling. It's one of the very few times I've seen Hanako let her guard down enough to do such a thing. I didn't pick it up myself though. Oh? It was a present from Lily. I never really needed a phone, and I couldn't afford one. She bought me one for Christmas, though, saying that we could use it to keep in touch. We see each other basically every day, anyway, both in and out of school. Then again, Lily does have her class representative duties and other friends that she talks with. It probably helps for situations like that, too, when she's gone away for a while. Lily's a very special person to you, isn't she? She is. I love her very much. Daisuki desu. Hanako looks down and smiles as she thinks of her. None of my friendships were as deep as theirs, and I have to admit to myself that I'm a little jealous of their relationship. We tell each other our email addresses and phone them into our respective phones, and I get Hanako's number from earlier and put it into my contacts list. Done. That makes 3 now. 3? Maybe Akane? Her name was it Akira? Not Akane? Who the fuck's Akane then? Lily Akiranya.